Hello everyone, good morning and welcome to today's The Hindu News Analysis. Myself Nitin K. Biju, I'll be appearing for the civil service interview this year. Coming to the contents page, today we'll be discussing about 5 important news articles in the Hindu newspaper today. The articles as well as the syllabus under which it belongs to is written in the contents page. Before moving to the articles, let us try to attempt a practice question. Try to attempt it by yourself first. After discussing the relevant article, we'll be coming back to the question again. The question is related to contract farming, which is a very important topic for prelims. Now, coming to the first page, new law for contract farming. So this is based on the announcement yesterday by the finance minister. We'll be discussing this article in detail in the coming slides. Also, second headline: lockdown likely to be extended till May 30th. So, due to the request by the states, as the containment of the COVID-19 is not that much good now, so the cases are increasing. So, because of that, most of the state wants an extension of the lockdown. So the decision whether to extend the lockdown or not will be taken today. Now, coming to another important news, India surpasses China's COVID 19 tally. So, China was the first country where the COVID 19 has happened. So, but India has surpassed it with more than 85,000 cases as of now, and the death toll mounts to around 2,674. Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat report most of the cases. Coming to another news article based on geography, monsoon will arrive on June 5, says IMD. So as we all know, usually monsoon the date of arrival of monsoon is June 1st in Kerala. So but this year the monsoon will be delayed by 4 more days. So that is the news about. Coming to the first article, new law for contract farming. So the center to push through agri marketing reforms as part of the stimulus package. So one thing we should remember here is instead of relief, instead of relief, the center has included reform also. Okay, so making long pending agricultural marketing reforms the centerpiece of the third tranche of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan economic stimulus package. The Union Minister has announced plans to enact a central law to permit barrier-free interstate trade of farm commodities and ensure a legal framework to facilitate contract farming. So we can see that the announcement were focused more on farmers yesterday, farmers, agriculture, and the allied activities. So here there will be a facility for barrier-free interstate trade as well as a law on contract farming. The third tranche also included plans to invest 1.5 lakh crore to build farm gate infrastructure and support logistics needed for fish workers, livestock farmers, vegetable growers, beekeepers, and the related activities. Although this includes some previously budgeted money and extension of existing schemes. So here you can see it is highlighted here the funds allocated for various activities. Like you can see here, 1 lakh crore is allocated for agriculture cooperative societies, farmer producer organizations, and startups for boosting the infrastructure. Also, 10,000 crore for formalization of micro food enterprises, cluster based farming approaches, etc. So you can just take a note of this box so that you can use it in the mains answers. Continuing, the center will deregulate the sale of six type of agriculture produce, including cereals, edible oils, oilseeds, pulses, onions, and potatoes, by amending the Essential Commodities Act of 1955. So, what is this Essential Commodities Act? This is a list which contains the essential commodities, right? So it includes medicines, includes food products, etc., which are essential for the survival of the country. So what happened now is, so I mean the commodities which are under those act will be regulated by the government in various manner. For example, the price might be regulated, the quantity might be regulated, the export quantity might be regulated, right? So but now the center has taken away, center has taken away these six commodities from the list. So now the farmers and the people below associated with these industries will be getting for more freedom to determine their own prices, export quantities, etc. So just note which all are those produces like they are cereals, edible oils, oilseeds, pulses, onions, and potatoes. Now, stock limits will not be imposed on these commodities except in case of national calamity or famine or an extraordinary surge in prices, the minister said. So, only if there is an extreme condition, only if there is a national calamity or famine, then only these commodities will be regulated again under the act. However, it now intends to enact a central law to allow farmers to produce to sell produce at attractive prices beyond the current mandi system, facilitating barrier-free interstate trade and e-trading. So, as we all know, now the farmer trades are based on mandi systems under APMC Act, Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee Acts, right? So, farmers have to first sell their produce to the mandis, and then the buyers will be buying the produce from the mandis. So mandis will act as an intermediary, right? So now this is going to be reformed through contract farming. The buyer and the seller, the farmer, will be able to do an agreement between them directly without involving the mandi. So this goes beyond the mandis. So coming to a prelims related fact, what is contract farming? Contract farming involves agriculture production being carried out on the basis of an agreement between buyer and farm producers. So here you can see that there is no intermediary involved. The mandis are not involved here. Sometimes it involves the buyer specifying the quality required and the price, with the farmer agreeing to deliver it at a future date. So this is similar to a futures trade, right? For example, before the agricultural season, the buyer, it can be a company. For example, consider the case of Lays. Lays produces potato chips, right? So they are the buyers, and they tell the farmers that okay, by this month, like maybe within 2 months, we'll be needing around this much tons, like 10 tons of potato of this quality. So this an agreement will be made, and this agreement will be registered also. So and the farmer will become obliged to sell this much produce within 2 months. Also the farmer will be given the money in advance itself, so that the farmer can invest in the inputs, in producing, the farmers in buying fertilizers and using the machines and all, right? So this will help both the farmer as well as the buyer. Why? Because the farmer will be getting money in advance, and he'll be assured of a predetermined price, right? Also the buyer, the corporates, the lease company or someone, they'll be assured of getting this much quantity of produce. So it is a win-win situation for both producers as well as the buyers. Coming to the practice question, consider the following about contract farming. First statement, there will be an agreement between farmers and the marketing firms for the production and supply of agriculture products. Second statement, this will ensure farmers a better price for their produce. Which of the above statements are correct? Coming to the first statement, we know that there will be an agreement. That is the contract, right? There will be an agreement between farmers and the marketing firms for the production and supply of agriculture products, as we have discussed in the Lays example before. So first statement is correct. Coming to the second statement, this will ensure farmers better price for their produce. This is also a correct statement, because we have discussed that farmers will be paid a part of the money as an advance. They'll be able to and farmers can sign the agreement only if they are willing for the predetermined price, right? So better price can be realized for the farmers. Also there is no uncertainty for the farmers to whom the produce will sell. Farmers know that anyway, even if I produce 10 tons of potato, I'll be selling it to this company, right? So that predetermined price and certainty of selling is there. So the answer is option C, both 1 and 2, both these statements are correct. Coming to the editorial of the day, a question of quarantine. The center and states must have a uniform requirement for travelers. So here we can see that another confusion is existing between the center and the states regarding the quarantine measures which have to be taken for the people who are coming out of the states as well as from out of the countries. So as tens of thousands of people move across states, many of the migrant workers and their families traveling as unorganized groups, the center finds itself facing a fresh front in the campaign to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Those who are stranded within the country and the abroad have started returning home, right? So interstate as well as people from outside the country. The center, as a lockdown regulator, now has the important task of creating a consensus with the states on the quarantine modalities. So there were some confusions which are happening in the previous days, which were those. One is the train passengers arriving in Bangalore protested that they received no advance notice of institutional quarantine, although they were given an option to stay in hotels for 14 days, incurring considerable expenditure. So the people protested because they were not given a notice that you have to go under quarantine. Also, they had to go under quarantine by through their own expenditure. They have to spend their own money for staying 14 days in hotels. And so you know that per day itself, staying in a hotel cost more than, like, it comes to around 1,000. So 14 days itself means it is a huge burden on the people, right? Also, laborers coming to states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, laborers compulsory quarantined in UP and Bihar escaped from the facilities after complaining of bad conditions. So this is a very it will create more chances of more reinfection if the people escape from the quarantine. There's a chance of spreading the infection, right? Also, coming to Kerala, there's a confusion between the center and the state, because the center insists on a 14-day institutional quarantine. Institutional quarantine means quarantine under the state facilities itself, right? uh, so the center says that there should be 14-day of institutional quarantine for those who are arriving from outside the country. But the state proposes that there should not be 14 days institutional quarantine, but there should be 7 days in a public facility. That is 7 days of institutional quarantine, whereas the next 7 days can be quarantined in the home. So here also the center and the state are having a confusion. Also, train passengers will given a home quarantine from the beginning itself. So this also this thing also the center doesn't want, because the center wants 14 days of institutional quarantine. So such a lack of certitude. So certitude means uncertain. Absolute certainty. Absolute certainty, right? So there is a lack of absolute certainty, even as the extended lockdown is set to expire, reflects failure at building consensus. So the federalism of the country is being tested. How well the center and the states are able to arrive at a consensus. That aspect is being tested now. With further easing of the lockdown, it is not a full withdrawal. Though it is not full withdrawal, many more will want to move within and between states by rail and by road, besides those returning from abroad. So all the states have to prepare for this by agreeing on the period of quarantine and provide as a baseline decent and free official accommodation to anybody who wants it. So the center should be able to, first thing is, the center and the state should be come to a consensus. Second thing is, the state should be able to provide decent and free official accommodation to anybody who wants it. The people should not be asked to pay for their expenditure, pay for the lockdown expenditure, I mean quarantine expenditure, right? So also, even if the people have to pay, then it should be non-exploitative tariffs. So the tariff should be very less, right? For example, 200 or 300 per day can be afforded, right? But if it is like around 1,000, more than 1,000, and it will become very difficult for the people also. So this is a daunting scenario, as India has crossed 85,000 cases of COVID-19, and slowing the spread depends vitally on the joint action. It must be pointed out that the Health Ministry, in its updated advice on May 10th, approved home isolation for even patients with the virus if they are deemed to be very mild to pre-symptomatic cases. So, what is this? So, for example, in countries like UK, what happened is, even if a person is having coronavirus, like infection, even if it is there, but the hospital facilities were totally overwhelmed. There were no hospital beds available and all. So because of that, the patients were made to stay back in their home itself. So so even the patients did not have hospital facilities. So considering the recognizing the growing caseload and the rising pressure on the public facilities, the limited scope for paid quarantine, India might also consider that option, whether like for example, if the cases are mild or pre-symptomatic, they'll be made in the home quarantine itself. So at institutional capacity will have to be ramped up in the coming weeks as a part of cohesive policy. So this like home quarantine might become a norm in the coming days, but that doesn't mean that the center and the state should avoid institutional quarantine facilities. The institutional quarantine facilities should be ramped up. So that is what the editorial is about. Coming to the next editorial, TASMAC tribulation. So TASMAC, it stands for Tamil Nadu State Marketing Corporation. Okay, it is a state corporation which focuses on selling alcohol like beverages, liquor, and all, right. So what happened is the conflict between the fiscal health and the public health is quite real for the states. Faced with the dwindling revenue due to the stagnation in economic activity since the national lockdown began, states are desperate to raise money to combat disease spread and to keep the public health services going. So we know that presently the state revenue is very less, especially in the post GST scenario. Before GST, what used to happen before, we have seen this in an article yesterday. Before GST, the state governments had the option of sales tax, right? State governments had sales tax under it, and if they wanted any extra revenue, they could have just increased the sales tax. But what happened after GST? The sales tax and all is coming under the GST now. So more power is under the center now. So the states have become more dependent on the center. Also, due to this COVID-19 pandemic, the revenues are not being properly shared with the states also. So now the states are having limited revenue options. So what are the options, revenue options of the state? One is the petroleum products, the tax on the petroleum products. But as you all know that the transportation sector has come to a halt now. The petroleum revenue is very less. Also, land registrations, property registrations are not happening. So the state governments are not getting revenue from that side also. So what is remaining is the sale of liquor. This is the reason why many states were desperate to open up the liquor shops, because that seems to be the only revenue option for states as of now. So it is this desperation that led Tamil Nadu to rush to the Supreme Court to obtain a stay on the Madras High Court order barring the sale of liquor through its retail stores and mandating online sales alone. So, as we all know, we have seen that many states try to open their liquor shops, right? But what happened is the physical distancing norms, the social distancing norms, and all were floated completely. So they were not followed, right? So because of that, in Tamil Nadu, the Madras High Court told that fine, though though they allowed the shops to open initially after this physical norms were floated, the Madras High Court told that no, now the retail shops should be closed and only online sales should happen. Online sales, home delivery, these stuff should only happen related to liquor sales. So the state government was not happy with that. They went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has now allowed retail shops to open. So that is the news about. So in Tamil Nadu's case, the Supreme Court has stayed the High Court order, paving the way for resumption of the sales through outlet of the state-run TASMAC. So, as we have already discussed, the Madras High Court initially allowed the state government to open its vast network of liquor shops, subjecting to several conditions for maintaining physical distancing. However, the state witnessed appalling scenes of unmanageable crowds. So, because of that, the Madras High Court stayed it. Then, now the Supreme Court allowed it to open again. So, coming to the opinion of the people, what the people wants, the popular opinion in Tamil Nadu does not seem to favor the resumption of liquor sales at the time when number of the people testing positive for the novel coronavirus is spiraling. So even the people don't want to the liquor shops to open because they're afraid of an increasing infections. Already people are struggling with infections. Now if it increases and becomes unmanageable again, then the lockdowns will extend, then it will affect the people economically, right? So this is the reason why people also don't want the liquor shops to open. But it is only the states who wants the liquor shops to open because it is a major source of the revenue. So Tamil Nadu is reeling under the effect of a cluster traced to Chennai's huge wholesale market, that is Coimbatore, and fruit market, with the total infection count rising in thousands in recent days. So it was better to continue the sale in online, right? At least the more infections could be controlled, but none can realistically discount the possibility that reopening TASMAC outlet may lead to another infection spiral. This is possible. Now that it has fought bitterly, even at the cost of making a highly contentious decision to get liquor sales going, now it is a duty of the state government to live up to its promise of preventing overcrowding in the vicinity of its outlets. So anyway, they are opening the retail outlets, but at least ensure that the uh, overcrowding doesn't happen, social distancing and all is maintained. So this is not just a challenge news of Tamil Nadu. This is going to be the challenge which is going to be faced by all the states in the coming days. Okay, so this editorial becomes important. Coming to a news on the GS2 international relations, the relations between US and China, they are getting worse day by day. US could cut ties with China over the pandemic, warns Donald Trump. US President Donald Trump on Thursday threatened to cut ties with China over its role in the spread of the coronavirus as the global death toll from the disease topped 3 lakh in US. So, the Trump administration also said on Friday that it would restrict the ability of Chinese telecom giant Huawei, which it considers a national security risk, to develop semiconductors abroad with US technology. So this US Huawei issue, Huawei is a company, right? It's a Chinese company. This issue is going for a long time. So what is this issue? It started with the 5G trials. Okay, so as we all know, the telecom sector is moving towards 5G. So what is this 5G? 5G is something, is an upgradation of the 4G LTE which is being currently used. It is 100 times faster than the 4G LTE. For example, the maximum speed of 4G LTE comes to around 100 Mbps, whereas 5G has a theoretical maximum speed of around 10 Gbps. So it is much faster. Also, it can enable many uh, business to business uses. Something like telemedicine can be used, even driverless cars. So for all these stuffs to happen, the internet should be very fast, right? There should be very less latency. Latency means the speed which it takes for a data to move from one point to another. So uh, uh, this latency can be is experienced by video game players. For example, when you are playing a video game, if the if you press a button and the action takes after a bit of delay in the actual game, then it is not it actually impairs the user experience, right? So this is called latency. So this 5G has a very less latency of 4 milliseconds. Like if you press a button within 4 millisecond, the action will happen. So 5G has such benefits. And coming to the Chinese company are the biggest largest manufacturer of this telecom equipments. And for 5G also, Chinese, this Huawei company has the most cost efficient equipment, which is very much necessary for 5G to happen. So but what happened is, the US is alleging that this Huawei company has links with the Chinese military, and there is a threat of data security and the national security, right? So this is the reason why Huawei and US government had issues, and the US government had banned Huawei, arrested the Huawei chairman. All these things were happening in the past. So now the issue is again coming to the fore again. So earlier Huawei has been under relentless pressure from the Washington, which has even lobbied allies worldwide to avoid companies' telecom gear over security concerns. The US had even told India to block Huawei from the 5G trials. Okay, so this was an issue which was going on earlier. So, coming to the global scenario, despite fear of a second wave of infection, national and local governments across the world, around the world, are easing lockdown orders as they try to get stalled economies moving again. So, this is the global scenario. Also, coming to another very important concern. So, there is a world's biggest refugee camp, right, where the Rohingyas are living. So, the nexus of poverty and risk was highlighted by the discovery of cases in the world's biggest refugee camps, where where upwards of a million Rohingya live in scholars. So over a million Rohingya people are living in this refugee camp. So you know that the living conditions in the refugee camps will be very difficult, where social distancing will not be able to be maintained. Physical distancing is not will not happen, and even decent living conditions are not there. Even medical facilities are not there. So if a case happens there, then definitely it will create a lot of fatalities, and it will spread very fast also. So this is another big concern the world is facing due to the Rohingya, I mean the discovery of the cases in the Rohingya camps. So that is all about. Even they are talking about countries like Germany, Europe, and also, so you can just read through it if you want. But the number of cases and all is not that important here. What you have to focus is the Huawei issue between US and China. So if a mains question comes on US China relations, you can mention this Huawei company issue that is related to 5G as an extra dimension. So that is more important here. Coming to the last article, Center borrows another $1 billion from the World Bank for COVID-19 relief. So this is in addition to the earlier 1 billion which has already been borrowed from the World Bank. So the center is taking another 1 billion loan from $1 billion loan from the World Bank to support its COVID-19 financial relief measures and the financial assistance for the poorest and the most vulnerable communities. The money will also be used for reforms in India's social security net, making it more integrated, portable, and focused on the urban poor. So the bank has already approved a $1 billion loan to support India's health sector in April. Now this is in addition to that. So taking its total commitment to India's COVID-19 response to $2 billion in total. So the new support will be funded in two phases. An allocation of $750 million that comes to around more than 5,600 Indian rupees, crores of Indian rupees. It will be made immediately to help fund the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. And coming to the second phase will provide around $250 million. It will be given post July 2020. So the $250 million will come to around 1,900 crore of Indian rupees. So the money will be used to implement the reforms. And as you all know, the center has decided to increase its borrowing limit also. So this will affect the fiscal deficit of the country, but this is a much needed expenditure to improve the demand of the economy and result in economic revival of the country. So there is a quote, agar jaan hai to jahan hai. So if the economy stands, then only the economy will be, then if the economy is alive, then only the fiscal deficit and all comes into picture, right? So what will happen if the economy collapses? Then this fiscal deficit things and all doesn't make any sense. So the first step is to ensure that the economy is alive and sound. Then only we have to worry about this fiscal deficit target and all, right? So that's why the government has decided to take more and more loan from international organizations, and the government should also take loans from the global market also. For example, after the 2008 financial global financial recession, for global financial crisis, to cope up with that, the many countries have increased their liquidity, so that liquidity is still sloshing around the market. So India should be able to take those liquidity from the market. Also India should be able, also due to this COVID-19 pandemic, the US, Japan, and even the European countries have increased their liquidity measures. So we know that already there is liquidity in the global market. This is visible from the less inflationary trends. For example, most of like it is mostly deflationary. The global market is mostly deflationary now, right? So India should be able to tap this money from the global market also. So not only borrowing from institutions, India should be able to take liquidity which is already available in the market. How can we do it? By issuing bonds. Sovereign bonds can be issued. Even India can allow equity sales also. So through these mechanisms, India should be able to take the liquidity from the market also. So these are the various methods to fund the economic demand, right? To fund the increased money which is required to fight the pandemic. So that is all for today's Hindu news articles. I hope you like the video. Please press the like button, subscribe to the channel, as well as share the video with your friends. Have a great day. Thank you.